Good morning and welcome to SCLO's annual Christmas address. Believe it or not, this is the fourth one that we've done. We started doing these at the tail end of 2018, so this is our fourth go at trying to give a little bit of a review of the year that's been and look forward to the year that's coming. So if we start with the year that's been. I mean, 2021, when we recorded this last year, actually we were stood outside in the car park because we weren't allowed to come into a building and weren't allowed to be around other people. So actually it's fantastic that we're now in a local small to medium sized enterprise that's full of folk, and everybody's happy and smiling and everything's good. So in terms of 2021 for SCLO, it was actually a really good year. It was a really busy year, really positive, and there was a lot of things that we took part in and were involved in and did. We started the year looking at Devolved AEB in the Yorkshire area, so activity around Sheffield City region, the West Yorkshire Combined Authority, which was great. You know, it was really interesting period of time. All at that same point in time, we went through the restart programme. So DWP launched their new response, ultimately response to the challenges that the pandemic had caused in terms of levels of unemployment. So those programmes have all now been launched and by all accounts are going along very well. We also throughout the year we looked at non-devolved ESFA adult education budget activity. So it's like, again, a really important procurement in the skills and education arena. And now we're starting to see things like ESF underspend, where additional contracts have been procured as we look to transition away from the European Social Fund monies. And I suppose really importantly, particularly for those of organisations that work within the apprenticeship arena, is the refresh of the register of apprenticeship training providers, or RoATP, which has been a real busy time for SCLO. So it's been a great year all in all. And in terms of looking forward to what's going to happen in 2022, and I do find it a little bit hard saying 2022 because that feels like very much in the future. You know, I'm naturally a positive person, and actually I think 2022 could be a really positive year. I think we've got a little bit of a challenge to get over in the next sort of month or so in terms of the winter months and how we get through those with the world as a whole, but actually the world is open at the moment, so we're in a much better position than we were a year ago. The economy is in a really solid place. I don't think anybody would have predicted that we'd actually have a surplus of jobs at this time last year. You know, there is a real positive element within the country, and actually, you know, love them or hate them, you know, we've got a government that's stable. We've actually had a stable government. We've not had a general election this year, so that's a really good start. So actually, we've got a bit of stability throughout the UK, which is, you know, again, is a huge positive. So, you know, what have we got to look forward to in 2022? Well, firstly, hopefully we've got a little bit more face-to-face activity, so it's great today to actually be somewhere with people, and hopefully that continues throughout 2022. I don't know about those that are listening to this now, but to be honest, I've got a little bit of Zoom and Teams fatigue. I think it's definitely got its place. However, I don't want to be doing it all day every day like certain points in the last 18 months. So hopefully we'll be more back to sort of 2019 of where we were. In terms of the the tendering activity or tendering world, particularly in the education and skills industry or SCLO, is particularly prevalent. We're going to be looking at the National Careers Service is due for re-procurement. That was meant to be out now as we speak, but there's been a few delays in terms of sign-off and whatnot, so that's going to be coming up very, very soon. There's going to be more further responses to COVID and the pandemic, particularly around how governmental bodies roll out the National Skills Fund and the Level 3 Skills Fund. It's not been perhaps the take-up that the government would have hoped with the current structure, so there'll be a range of different things we'll start to be able to look at for those. I think really importantly what 2022 will do is start in earnest that transition away from European Social Fund to the Prosperity Fund. So that's going to be really interesting to see what lessons procurers have learned or buyers have learned in terms of the good things that ESF brings, but also some of the bad stuff that it has, and what hopefully they can bring out the good bits and get rid of the bad bits and make a much more streamlined, efficient service for everybody. And it would be remiss of me to continue to mention RoATP. That's still ongoing, and that's people are going to be continued to be invited throughout the early part of 2022. The ESFA have made great strides in terms of refreshing the apprenticeship agenda, but that's going to continue throughout the early part of next year. So hopefully everyone has a fantastically prosperous 2022, but firstly actually really enjoys Christmas this year. It was a bit curtailed last year, but hopefully this Christmas will be really good. As part of that sort of thing of wearing my brand new Christmas jumper, which is my Leicester City Christmas jumper, with Santa playing up front for Leicester. Hopefully he'll score a few goals. Might need to shore up our defence a little bit, but if he scores a few goals over the Christmas period, then we'll all be good. Take care everybody, and here's to a prosperous 2022.